Hi everyone, welcome to my bouquet class here in my garden. In this class I will show you how to make a bouquet with the threading technique, which is different from the spiral technique. But it's a technique that I really love, and I think I've been practicing for the last 5 years how to feel more confident when I do my bouquets. I know that bouquets are very nerve-wracking, especially because bride has so much expectations about their bouquets, and they will be photographed. So I know as florists you always have the pressure that you have to make a really beautiful thing. So it's stressful, but I think if you practice, and it took me at the beginning probably a year practicing every single day my bouquet, and then there will be the moment that you feel really confident and you will do beautiful bouquets. I'm going to give you some tips of how to start practicing and how to do it in a way that you feel more confident each time. So I'm going to guide you through my color palette selection, and also I'm going to remind you that there's no way that you can do a bouquet if you don't clean very well your stems. If you are not a florist and this is your first approach to a bouquet, you'll see that my stems, I'm going to show you, have no leaves. So that means that if you buy a bundle and you want to make a bouquet, you have to make sure that you have processed your flowers, that you have cleaned all the leaves and anything that is coming or branching from below. I'll explain you in a little bit why. So have a selection of flowers, separate them well in different containers so that you can pull them easily out, because this hand is going to be busy and you won't be able to clean anything else anymore. So let's start, okay? I like very flowery bouquets, so you can see that in this selection I hardly have any foliage, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use foliage. I just really like them to be very lush. So if you're gonna go to the market or in your garden, what you will need is flowers or foliage with a lot of curves. You need focal flowers, some medium flowers that are very soft and delicate. In this case, I have these Lysianthus and these spray roses. You also need some texture. So I have these zinnias here, and I really love the texture that they will give me. I have phlox to make my bouquet very flowy, very flowery. I have some straw, and of course I have cosmos, because you will always need something with a very graceful, delicate stem. The threading technique, it's a little bit intimidating, because the truth is that you are not holding the bouquet. You're not holding the flowers at the beginning. You're just supporting them. And it's a little bit stressful, because you know, it feels that everything is going to fall down of your hand. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So when you do a bouquet with the threading technique, this is the part that you're going to use to support your flowers, okay? And you're going to use these fingers here to support your flowers, and also this part of your hand. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to grab this first piece of yarrow, and I'm just going to hold it here. I want you to see the difference between holding and supporting, because this is the beginning of doing the threading technique the way I do it. Not everybody does the threading technique like that, but I find this something that at the end the result is very soft and very gentle. So I'm going to cross two of my stems like this. So can you see, this is very different. Like this I'm holding, you know, I'm holding the stems. Like this I'm just supporting the stems. So these two fingers, what they're doing is that they are not letting these stems fall down of my hand. So I'm just gonna keep these fingers like that, and this part of my hand is also supporting this stem. So that's how you start, okay? So you're going to keep threading from one side to the other. At the beginning, you're going to thread very diagonal. So that means that I'm not threading straight, because if you do that, flowers will sink inside your hand. So again, I'm going to show you, we are threading very diagonal, okay? It's very different than if I thread like this. Like this, the flowers will sink inside. Like this, they will stay in place. And what I want to do at the beginning, and I'm going to show you here, is you want to create a false chicken wire, like a fake chicken wire that's going to be the support for your flowers. So by doing this threading at the beginning, what you're doing is creating the structure that will support your flowers later, okay? So I'm gonna grab another piece of phlox. I'm not using foliage, but you could use foliage instead. So just imagine that this is not a phlox, that this is a foliage, and you would do exactly the same thing. Okay, so I'm gonna cross here, and I'm gonna thread again. And can you see, I'm not holding, I'm just supporting the flowers. And I'm gonna do the same with this piece. It has a little piece that died, so I'm just gonna cut it. And I'm gonna thread in this direction again. It's a little bit scary, things move, but you have to relax. If at some point you feel that you're very stressed, the best thing that you can do is tape your bouquet, a drink, and then go back to it. But I will tell you when you can stop. For now, we are creating structure. So I want you to see I'm trying to create a grid. Something inside here that when I bring the stems will support them, okay? So I'm gonna keep going with my phlox, pretending that this is foliage if you don't have any phlox. And one thing that is very important is every time you thread something, try to thread it in different levels so that you are starting to create movement. If you thread everything in the same level, it will look flat. So just try to create this sense of layering. I'm gonna add another piece. This is quite thin. Let me find one that is thicker. I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna use this one also at the beginning. Okay. Again, this is yarrow, but it could be foliage, okay? But if you have yarrow, it's nice because again, what I want is to create something that feels very, very flowery. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna thread this one. And when I thread it, I make sure that it's in a different level than the other one, so that I start creating this sense of waving, okay? And I'm gonna add another one, and I'm gonna go in this direction, and I'm gonna thread it again in a different level. I'm gonna show you this, okay? This is the grid that we're talking about. This is the grid that is going to support the flowers so that they don't sink inside your hand. But again, I'm not holding, I'm not grabbing the stems, I'm just supporting them, imagining that this is like a base, you know, like a clear base where I'm putting the stems. Okay, what's next? Right now, I have a lot of space in my hand, and eventually it will get fuller. So I want to take the advantage of having a lot of space to add the flowers that have a thick stem, because imagine that this is very full and I try to put something inside that has this very thick stem, or dahlia sometimes can even have a thicker stem, or roses. So you want to take advantage of the fact that you still have a lot of space to put your bigger stem flowers, okay? Your thicker stem flowers. So I'm gonna grab my dahlias or my roses, whatever has the thicker stem, maybe my roses and then my dahlias, and I'm gonna start placing them very diagonal. Again, don't place them in the center. They will sink inside your hand, and you really need to make sure that nothing sinks inside your hand, because that's the space that you need for your flowers, okay? So I'm gonna thread this one here, just gonna go here, and I'm gonna do the same in the other direction with another rose. Maybe I would like to have another color on the other side. So I'm gonna thread this one in this direction. And when I place it, I want you to see something that is important. When I place it, I kind of twist the stem, so it's easier to put it inside, okay? So I want to show you, this is the movement that we're looking for, and the same the other side. So I'm going to add more roses, and remember, we are adding the roses and whatever very diagonal so that nothing sinks inside your hand. Okay, so I'm going to add this one here. And again, what I want is a different level, okay? Always remember, you don't want to place things in the same level because you will not achieve movement. One more, but I want to keep this side, this color, and this side a little bit more pink. So I'm going to add this one on the other side. I'm just going to cut one. I think I prefer just to have two, so that at the end I end up having 5, and it's nicer with odd numbers. So I'm going to have this one here, and I'm going to leave it there. Again, I want you to remember different layers, okay? The same on this side. A lot of florists make their bouquets looking at a mirror. You know, it's something that all the studios have. They are looking in a mirror, but I got used to do it without looking into the mirror, and I think it works really well. I think the mirror got me a little bit distracted, so I got used to do it without it. What I was saying before also is that you need to take advantage of the space that you have here in order to put your stems that are thicker, okay? So I'm gonna add now my dahlias, and I think I really love how this looks with this color. So I'm gonna add this one in here, okay? And then I think the ones that have more that color, I'm gonna add them on this side. Can you see how beautiful the color palette is in this side and the other one? And eventually, obviously, they will get married together with the zinnias that will allow us to go from one side to the other one, okay? So I'm gonna add this one here. Again, remember, you have to twist the stem and things will move. Don't stress, that's normal. You don't have anything underneath here, so things will move in your hand. And I'm gonna place this one in another layer, okay? So this one's here. And I'm gonna grab the other one of my dahlias and I'm gonna place it on this side here, okay? So I'm gonna come here, twist the stem, and go quite low, okay? So what happens in the middle? I'm gonna start adding the fillers. It's the same what we did in centerpieces and in our large scale. Fillers are gonna save our lives and gonna make the softer color palette. So I'm gonna grab some of these fillers. That is again yarrow. As you can see, I use yarrow all the time and for everything. I'm happy that in Mexico you can find it all year round. But if you don't find something that you can use as a filler all year round, it doesn't have to be yarrow. Maybe it can be a type of foliage. Maybe it can be a type of dried grasses. Something that will allow you to be having a color palette that is not flowers against green. Okay? So I'm gonna put all my yarrow just here so that I can grab it easily. And I think I have one more here that is very pretty. And that one has curves. Maybe I use it at the end. So now I'm gonna grab the yarrows that have straight stem and I'm gonna use them as a filler, okay? So one thing that is very important, and I want you to know that, if you have a stem that is, I wanna see if I find something like this because I clean them really well. So, okay, let me make the example here. If you thread in between these flowers, okay, by any chance you place this one and then you add another stem and you thread in between them, you won't be able to move it. You won't be able to twist the stem. So it's going to be very difficult. So always make sure that you clean your stems and you don't have that division very quite low. Okay. So I'm gonna grab my arrow and I'm gonna start adding the fillers. Okay, I'm gonna use this one. I took that little piece and I'm gonna add more fillers from one side to the other side. Hold on. And fillers can go quite low, okay? So there are flowers that you shouldn't squish. There are flowers that look suffering inside a bouquet if you really squish them. You have to choose very well what's gonna go on this layer, okay? So that you don't squish them. So let me add more of this. Yarrow is fine being in the lower level of your bouquet. I'm gonna clean this side. And I'm gonna come and thread it quite low. Okay. If things move, don't worry, that's just normal. Okay. This is a very important moment. When I'm here, okay, when I have something that feels quite solid, you know, I can't really explain how many flowers or how many stems you need to feel this, but there will be a moment that you will feel that your hand is quite safe, that nothing is moving that much. So then you can close your hand, okay? It feels a little bit weird because it feels that everything has moved, but this is what you need. You need to know how it's going to look once you tape it. So I closed my hand and then you will have to rearrange whatever moved in a direction that you don't like, okay? But I'm happy with this, like that. I'm gonna lift this one up and leave it like that. And maybe I need to place this one lower and lift this one a little bit higher. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep going with my stems. I will open my hand again, and I like the direction that my bouquet is taking, so I'm gonna open again to keep adding things. So I think I'm gonna go for some of these dahlias just to add a little bit of texture, and they are happier also underneath. Can you see? If I squish her a little bit, she's not suffering, but if I squish a rose, she would be very miserable, okay? So I'm gonna add this one now. I'm gonna place it here, and it has a thicker stem. So I'm gonna twist and be patient and know that everything's gonna move. These moments are starting to get crucial because everything starts moving and then you get a little bit frustrated, but it's okay, okay? And I'm gonna add one more of this one. I think it's too thick, but I like these ones. So let me grab them. I'm gonna show you. Again, these ones are more hardy, so they can go in the lower level. And I'm gonna thread this one on this side, just here. These are very happy. And then I'm gonna grab this one and I'm gonna thread it in the same direction, just here, okay? And again, one thing that I really love about creating bouquets with movement is that you always have to go and create, again, the sense of wave that we've been talking about in the large scale and in the centerpiece. So I'm gonna keep working this lower level, this part, and I think for that I'm gonna add these zinnias. These are called the cupcakes, and I really like them, and they really last in a vase. So I think I have a couple of them. Let me find them. I have one. Where are my zinnias? Here I have another one. This one is not exactly the same variety. Oh, here it is. So I'm gonna add these cupcake zinnias, and again they're gonna go here. And can you see? They are not the type of flower that would suffer if it was squished a little bit. So I'm just gonna cut it here, okay? And I'm gonna add it somewhere here, okay? I'll see if I want it here or here, but I think I'm gonna add it, okay? So I'm gonna come and thread this one again, twist the stem, okay? It's not so easy. And if you try to do it just hard like that, you will have a hard time. Just twist the stem, go inside, quite low, low, don't be afraid. And that's perfect. And then I'm gonna grab another one and I'm gonna thread this one, but in the back direction. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna leave that one there. Okay, so what's next? I think we're gonna add one more of these zinnias, you know, or maybe this pink one. Let me see which one I like the best. We also have other varieties of zinnias here that are very cute. It's hard to decide when you have a lot of beautiful flowers, but I think I'm gonna go for another color so that maybe, can you see how this is very good? So I think I'm gonna go for this color and I'm gonna thread these ones. So the same thing that we were doing, and I will repeating this over and over again. There's no way you create movement if you put your flowers in the same level. You always have to place them in different levels. So I'm gonna create a river of color of those zinnias from here to here to here to there. All of them in different levels, not scattering them all over the place. So I'm not gonna add one here and another here and another here. I'm gonna group them to create a sense of more powerful color palette. So I like this one here. I think this one works really well here. Can you see the color here? So I'm going to start threading them. I have this little thing here. I want you to see this, okay? And when it's getting busy, the hand, it's kind of difficult to thread when you have this thing. I know that I don't need the stem so long, so I'm going to cut it all the way here so that she can go inside quite easily. So I'm just gonna cut here and I'm gonna thread this one in here. So I'm gonna twist, I'm gonna add that zinnia there, and then I'm gonna start creating my color palette from here to there. Again, I'm gonna just open, relax your body. It's very important that you relax your body. I know it's very nerve-wracking to do a bouquet, but if you are stressed, the flowers get stressed and actually your hand starts getting warm, you know. Sometimes I'm doing this class and I ask my students to give me their bouquets and they're warm. You know, the stems are getting so hot. So if you feel that it's getting really, really hot, just tape it, give yourself a rest, relax your body, have a drink and go back to it. And that way your flowers will stay beautiful till the end of your bouquet, okay? So I'm gonna grab another one and I'm gonna place it here. Let me see, I think it's gonna be fine here. So again, I twist and I can feel how my hand is getting busier and busier. So it's more busy, it's more difficult, but just relax. And I'm gonna grab and add this one here. So I'm gonna come here and have to find the right spot. So sometimes you don't even have to see where you're gonna put it. You just have to feel where she wants to go and then it's easier, okay? That's it. So can you see every single flower in my bouquet has their own space to breathe. And that is the only way to make a bouquet look soft, romantic, and effortless. If the flowers inside your hand look suffering, it just doesn't look romantic, okay? Okay, now I'm gonna add some of these little zinnias just to keep adding this texture, and then I'm gonna add the cosmos and the things that are going to add the third layer, that is the layer of the movement, the layer of the graceful stems, and then maybe some fillers, and then we're gonna wrap it. So I'm gonna add this one here. It's just so pretty, so I'm gonna add this one in here. Next to this rose, can you see how pretty this looks here? So I'm just gonna come and again, I just have to feel where does she wants to go, and that's it. I think that looks fine, maybe lower. And I think I have here two tiny ones that I I really find them very cute. Look at these ones, they're so cute. So I'm gonna use this one, just maybe on here. So she has a very short stem. So I think I have to place it somewhere here, because when I put this bouquet in water, I wanna make sure that all the stems are drinking. So I'm gonna come here. Again, you twist,